from during the night or very early this morning, because there are a lot of bird tracks on top of them. We're not going to be able to go up to the dam right now. We'll maybe come back to that later. And I think what we're going to really be concentrating on this afternoon, of course, along with everything else, is maybe looking for some rhino tracks. We haven't seen rhino for a while, so I'd like to go maybe look for some of the rhino that are in the area, and maybe see if we can find some of their tracks. Other than that, all that cloud is burnt away, and we've got a really lovely warm day and bright sunshine. So join us, let's go for a drive. Some weird cloud in the area actually, up north and down south, northwest and southeast, banks of cloud, and just where we are is lovely blue sky. Now, news is that there is a leopard in camp. Unfortunately, I don't know who it is, but Jess did bump into a leopard when she was coming back from the lodge just after lunch. She was coming back to the staff area, which is almost it's where we are, and she walked into one of the leopards. I think if there's anyone that bumps into leopards, it's Jess, who's the chef at Vuyatela Lodge. Jessica. She has this magnetic relationship with leopards. But now, contrary to popular belief, these animals don't attack on sight. They do, they are aware of what we are as humans, and they do know whether we're threatening or not, and most of the time, if we're in a non-threatening way, just if we're not threatening, they don't act aggressively towards us. They prefer to shy away and run away than have a confrontation with a human. Of course, it is something to be somewhat concerned about, because we can't have people walking into leopards, but then there's nothing much we can do about it. We're living within their territory. It's just that we need people to be a little bit more vigilant, a little bit more aware that these things can happen. And I think Jess knows that she shouldn't run, knows that it's best to, I don't know what she did, but all I know is that she knows how to behave with these cats. She's bumped into them often enough. And most of the time, when you make eye contact, especially with a leopard, and they know they're in your ground, they prefer to run away rather than have a confrontation. It's only really when we're out in the bush and we're in a situation where a leopard might have cubs, or they might be on a kill or something similar, that you approach them on foot and you get a little bit too close, that they might get aggressive with you. But having said that, history has shown that humans are as much of a prey item for leopards as any of the primates. Leopards are in some ways specialist primate hunters. They have been hunting primates. Yes, I'm still here. Just because you go underwater doesn't mean I'm going to leave. He's a big hippo, this. Sure. Well, we're clearly disturbing him, so I think let's leave. Continue our quest. Okay, we're going now. Pardon? Mr. Hospitality, yes. Okay, we're going now. Bye. Be like that. As far as internet is concerned, if any of you are being able to follow this, there does seem to be a problem, not here at Juma, but there's something on the mountain that's happened. So at the moment we don't have a full signal for some reason. But please be patient. The people concerned are working with it out of our hands. Well, let's go back to Chelapan Road. See if we can see if those giraffe have moved out into the open maybe. And head on from there. Not very many fresh tracks here at all. And nobody was driving here today. Today is the first day that I noticed that the water is no longer flowing out of Treehouse Dam, so mark that on the calendar, Lynn, or anyone else who's been keeping track of what happens with the dams and the rivers and the flow of water. Today I noticed for the first time that there's no longer a little bit of a stream coming out of Treehouse Dam. We could mark that as probably a record in terms of how long water has flowed down these drainage lines. I think it's probably been a long time since so much water has been around. Go down towards Philemon's Dip first to see if they might not have come up this way, the giraffe. Then we'll go back down towards Chelapan. Also give me an idea of what animals might have been moving around Philemon's cut line. I think these giraffe were in the open area we call quarantine near camp, which means that they're moving south, so there's a strong possibility we'll find them closer to Leopard, closer to the road when we get back there in a minute. Unless of course there's some really fresh tracks that we're going to follow up now, but I doubt it. Or unless we bump into a leopard or an elephant or something. Nope. Hello children, just to let you know, if you understand English, Induna's just up ahead, although looks like your ram coming along to chase you all. You'll be a little bit sidetracked. I don't want anything to do with your Impala, you don't have to worry, Mr. Impala Ram. Okay, they've lost visual of him, but we've got a lot of daylight. We'll see what we can do. Nice big warthog making his way to an area where he doesn't know there's a leopard. We're going to make our way to try and get to the other side of this pan, because he's gone to the other side of this drainage, this termite mound. No, not going to work. Tension here is palpable. behind the termite now. Let's see if we can get there. There is a slight obstacle here in the way of a dead tree. We can try and avoid it. Seeing neither warthog nor leopard right now. See him. Okay, you obviously can see him better than me with your height, the height that you have. Is he not moving? That tall one. Okay, well we're just going to have to try and get down there. Oh, there, I see now. See if you can get him on camera. What's he doing? He's licking, he's cleaning himself or something. Just watch him from here for a minute and have a look, see which way he's going to go. Okay, at the moment he's lullapanzi, so no rush. Such a beautiful leopard. Well spotted. He's just got that head thing going. He's starting to get that really broad head of a male leopard. He's turning into, I know we haven't seen Mishu for a while. And I'm sure Mishu is just as striking, but this young lad, a leopard of note. Oh, where are you going now? Go and look for some impala. They're down there, Induna. Yeah, that way. Where are you looking? Where are you going? That's where they are. Tara, remember when we walked along here and we saw leopard tracks? I'm figuring it must have been him. He got a pretty strong route that he takes down here. Follows the watercourse. Don't know if we're going to be able to keep up with him. I hope so. Oh, isn't that beautiful? In this afternoon light, he's making his way back towards quarantine. All the impala are up there. He's seen something. He's seen something else. See how his head, he just perked up a little bit. I missed it. Okay, this is going to be an awkward one. Okay, Induna's now moving south along the drainage line. I'll try and keep up. I don't know how deep this is to be able to go through it. With a long wheelbase, it might be awkward, but no, I think maybe even Jigger might have a problem with that. It's very deep. Okay, so let's try this way maybe. Deep and steep. No such luck through there either. You have to go all the way around back onto quarantine. I think he's got his eye on some of those impala up there on quarantine. I just lost visual of the singlet, but I'll keep you posted. Looking for that dead tree, and aim for a dead tree we're just looking at. Back in that direction. Making for that. I don't know if we'll get down here, but at least we might get a view over the drainage line to see him again. He was making his way this way. Hello Alan, thanks for your question. I'm not too sure if I quite understand what the question is getting at. Let's just get out of here. This is a very tricky situation. I mean, but part of the question I don't understand is where the wildebeest comes in, because the wildebeest doesn't have anything to do with it. But Alan is asking, with the rutting noises of the impala, will the predator hone in on that? And if there's a wildebeest and an impala, well, I'm not too sure. But if I mean, it depends which predator we're talking about. The leopard's not going to go for a wildebeest, but the wildebeest are not making noises at the moment, other than maybe alarm calls if they see something. See, all these impala are up ahead, and the only thing we can do maybe now is to sit with these impala and watch these impala, because he's going to use this drainage line as cover. He's going to probably try and sneak closer to them. He's probably heard this impala ram. Now this is tying in with your question, Alan. Most definitely the leopard, the lion, whatever it is, even cheetah, are going to use the fact that these impala are rutting at the moment, that they are making a noise. They're going to use that against the impala, because the impala rams are so preoccupied with the rut at the moment. They don't really look out for danger as much as they should. And quite often, with the way the rams chase these females around, you might find that these females are also a little bit distracted, trying to keep the male in their sights. At the moment, we've got this big herd of impala. They're in the perfect habitat for a leopard to strike. It's going to be one of those days where we're going to sit here. I don't know where the leopard is, but I'm guessing he knows where these impala are, based on the impala ram probably shouting and chasing these females around. Let's just stop. We're going to watch them browse a little bit and see if we can maybe pick up on where the leopard is. And we might just, it might be better actually under the circumstances, rather than follow the leopard and draw attention to the leopard, rather to just sit here with the impala that are totally ignoring us, and in this way we are not influencing the hunt in any way. We're going to just sit quietly. We're going to watch these impala. They're browsing and grazing, moving slowly around this fairly thick bush. It's the kind of habitat that makes it easy for a leopard to stalk fairly close and strike. So Alan, as far as I don't know where the wildebeest come into your question, but as far as your question is concerned with relating to impala, there will be a time, and the ram is actually, he's gone behind some trees, but there was a female sneaking off and he went off to chase her. And it's under those circumstances that a leopard is going to probably take advantage of it, when there is that kind of a distraction. And yes, they will be attracted by the rutting noise. They know that when the rut is on, and they learn over time, in fact, they learn that it's an easy time to target an impala, because the whole herd is distracted by the ram making his rutting noises and chasing either females or other rams around. I don't know if that answers your question, Alan. Maybe you can help me a little bit with it. Looks like some birds that flew off to south of us. I don't know whether he's gotten that far yet or not. I've lost visual of this ingwe in the drainage line southwest of quarantine. Now we can be sure that we are not going to see him, because these impala have got keener eyes than us. And he's going to make sure that he's not going to be seen by them in his attempt to get closer to them. So I think under those circumstances we can be sure that we're not going to be able to spot him that easily. But I am keeping an eye out, and I think he might be around here somewhere. I know that he's heard them. When he climbed up onto that termite mound, he must have seen them from there. We are actually in a straight line between where he was and where these impala were, so I have no doubt that he's making his way this way. The thing is with the leopard though, we don't have the patience of a cat. I mean, he could sit here and watch them all afternoon and wait for nightfall to strike. But at night, this evening, they're going to be making their way back onto the open area where there's going to be a lot more chance for them to see something coming at night. They're a little bit more confident during the day. That lets them move into this thicker vegetation. But come nightfall, they're going to want to be out in the open, and that is where it's a little bit more difficult for a leopard to strike from, because the leopard has to get very, very close to be able to strike. So we're going to play the patience game again. We've done this a few times with Induna, and well, the law of averages says the more often we do it, the more chance we have of actually seeing him strike. Uh-huh. Some of these impala are so relaxed that they're lying down. This might take a while, but we're going to sit here for another few minutes. Hello, Tiger Man. Tiger Man's question. I think what Tiger Man is asking is how we tell different leopards apart. Well, apart from different characters and different looks on their faces, there are very distinct markings that each leopard has. In much the same way as we all look different, so do leopards. So does every animal, in fact. In fact, every single impala here, believe it or not, every single impala that we're looking at right now is different to the next one. And well, for us who are not impalas, we can't tell the difference, but of course the impalas can. And I think that's very, very similar to how we as humans relate to each other as humans. And very often you find people from one part of the world not able to differentiate between people from another part of the world, because it's what we're used to. We're so used to choosing very easily identifiable features. But in leopard they have a spot pattern, they have different markings. Every single spot, every single rosette, every single marking on a leopard is different. So you just have to look at one particular place on a leopard, one particular patch. Maybe it's the shoulder, maybe the face, the forehead, the eye, the neck. There are many different areas on a leopard that you can identify different spot patterns. We tend to do not so much the necklace, the bib pattern, what we call the bib pattern around the throat and chest. For us here, the easiest way we do it is sort of the markings around the eye, and particularly the forehead markings are something that we tend to sort of hone in on and have a look at. And that's how we tell the difference between the individuals. And a lot of these impala are making their way down towards the drainage line. What we can maybe do is just take a drive down here quickly and see if we can see him. Maybe we should just sit quietly and watch the impala. Questions are coming in. We can talk about things while we're waiting. I think there's a strong possibility he might be watching one of them. There's a good chance he might have moved off entirely. Just digressing slightly. Hello, Darren. What kind of snakes are in the area? Well, there's a very long list, Darren. We can start with the largest, the African rock python. Moving down in scale, and I can only give you a handful of the snakes that we will find here. Python being the largest and one of the harmless. The other large snakes that we have tend to be mostly venomous, things like black mamba, snouted cobra. What else is a big one? Just trying to think of other large snakes, very long, large snakes. I mean, the boomslang can get quite long. Vine snake, Mozambique spitting cobra, we're going down in size now. Those are the venomous. And puff adder, night adder, and into the more harmless species, spotted bush snake, some of the sand snakes, some of the grass snakes, the rhombic egg eater or the African egg eater, red-lipped herald, southern tiger snake, Schlegel's blind snake, Bibron's stiletto, and as I think about them, I'll probably come up with some other names of other snakes that we get in the area, but we have a fair variety of snakes. We just don't see them that often. They're not easy to find. Vine snake. Only one snake, however, that will prey on impala, and that's the rock python. As big as they are pythons big enough to swallow a whole impala. As they're moving down, we're just gonna go back down towards the drainage line, see if we can see him. Hoping we don't miss out on a strike, but that might not be a bad thing. The kudu. So he hasn't come down this way along the drainage line because that kudu, the female kudu down here, she would have given off an alarm. She's quite alert. Can you not see her? Yeah. A little bit too big for a leopard. I doubt whether, no, not doubt, I'm sure he won't even go for a kudu. But if he was moving down through the drainage line, she would have seen him and she would have given an alarm. So I think we can be sure he hasn't been here yet. So he's probably still stalking further back. A little bit of a precarious position that we're in here. I think there's a straight drop down to the left. I don't want to go too close to the edge. For all we know, he might have given up on everything and headed out towards Rebecca's road. I'm just going to have a look over this edge. The kudu's barking now. I don't think it's barking at me. I think the kudu must have seen him. He's moved south again. Very deep, loud bark of the kudu. And the impala all moving back up to the open. Kudu are barking, and it's not kudu. If they saw me, they would probably just run off. All the impala have moved off too now. Maybe he wasn't banking on kudu being here. Listen to that. Let me just switch off. You can hear that raucous bark of the kudu, perhaps. No, they've stopped now, naturally. Whoa. There you go. Looking that way. Yeah, so he could be up on the top of that ridge. Whoa. Back down here again, where we were earlier. Yes, he's looking up that way. Can you see, or is it? No, the tree must be in the way, huh? Hmm?
Yeah, it's just in the way. Directly behind the tree.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I can go forward. Where is he, Mrs. Kudu?
Must have just crested that ridge and saw him and made a run for it.
Yeah. She's watching him up there. So then I can get down here, I just can't get up the other side.
What about over there?
No, I mean that's a sheer wall there. I can get across further down. Our best bet is to go around to Rebecca's Road. I don't even think he was looking at these impala, to be honest. I could get down there, but getting out is a different matter. I see the water buck further down south too. Huh? That's a Land Rover. Turning circle of a train. But I still love them. Thinking cut through the drainage line where we were earlier, but then it's a matter of trying to find our way back up to Rebecca's Road. So probably to be on the safe side, let's just use the road and go around that way. All these impala have moved out of the drainage line quietly, hearing the kudu. It's not like they ran far away. They just moved out of range. Hey, Mr. Marla. You and your herd live once again. He's got a huge group, this male. We could have sat with those impala for the rest of the afternoon thinking he was stalking them. So let me think, other snakes. Purple gloss snake, Cape wolf snake, Cape file snake, striped scarpsteker, olive grass snake, a couple of the grass snakes. One of the grass snakes is actually semi-venomous. So many, but I'm trying to think of one or two that I haven't mentioned. Gee, elephants have been busy here digging holes, getting to water. There's the buffalo. I was just seeing tracks of a buffalo. And here he is. Probably that big boy we saw at Treehouse Dam the other day. Alright, well we can't really dally here with the buffalo, I'm afraid, because I really want to look out for this leopard. He's been lying here in the sand. in here. No, we're not going to the buffalo. Sorry, I didn't get that question, Tara. Zach wants to know how we tell Induna apart from the other leopards. Well, at the corner of his eye he has a different marking to all the other leopards. His forehead markings are different. His spot pattern is different. He has the tip of his tail missing. It's hard to sort of put your finger on one thing. He is just a different looking. He's different. Zach, if we see him, I'll be able to point it out. I think it's a lot easier if we actually have him on camera, that I can point out some of the markings. He's got a very distinct marking on his forehead, and the corner of his eyes. There he is. No, it's not. I just saw a white tail, and it's a kudu. It is the kudu that was probably barking at him. Ah, my heart skipped. Pardon? It's the same group, if not the same individual, but it's the same group. Yeah, it's a female kudu, which means that he's probably still north of her somewhere. It's very difficult to sort of explain these things unless I have them with us to be able to show you. It's going to be difficult getting through this little gap. So we can try push this up. Not. I want to get down there.
Can you come again?
Hi everybody, this is Tara Final Control. I'm not too sure exactly what the issue is at the moment, but hopefully we will rejoin them in a very short moment once I regain contact with the Gunda. So do stay tuned, and hopefully we'll be back on drive with Mark and Daniel very, very shortly.
In your face with grasses. Chewing the roots off. She's letting the root stock fall off. Now the tail of an elephant, those tail hairs that we can see there now, are as distinct to each elephant as, say, the tusks or the tears in the ear or their facial features. Of course, hairs grow and regrow, so it's not a permanent marker for an individual, but this is something to take note of. She's got the tail hairs on the inside of her tail, very long, curling outwards, very, very few hairs on the outside of the tail curling inwards. Where's your mother? She's not even in her teens yet. Probably about a 9 or 10-year-old, if that. There's normally the little bulls that lag behind. Let's follow her a little bit. The rest of the herd must have all crossed over into Buffelshoek. A relaxed child. She relaxes as soon as I switch the engine off and I stop. Now, I've often said it's not that unusual to find animals on their own, but I think under the circumstances it's a little unusual to find a young female elephant like this lagging behind as much as she is, if she is. I'm sure she's just lagging behind. There they are, further up. Just got to follow her and find the rest of the herd. They're all up on the fire break. So instead of going northeast, they just came north. Okay, little one. Oh! I'm going to your mother. You don't want to talk to us. I want to tell your mother you're misbehaving. Just the last moments of daylight. It's nice to find a little herd of ellies. There's a cow on our left, just one cow with a calf. I don't know how many more there might be. See if we can find our way in here to have a look and say hello to her. Look. Afternoon, madam. Oh, good evening. Little girl's running up here now. Mom's rumbling to her. Okay, so nothing that unusual. She was just a little bit further away than I would expect a young female to be. But obviously very relaxed and feeling that she can lag behind the way she does, or she did. Let's see if she... I think she's probably the older calf of this cow. You're gonna come and talk to me again? her younger sibling. I think it might be a little boy. In fact, there's a strong possibility that there are more elephant up north, or rather, north, we are north, west of us. Sorry, let's move a little bit. Get onto the fire break and head a little bit further west and see. Rhino tracks again, big bull. Heading west. No, I don't think any more elephant. If they are with a greater herd, with a bigger family group, then I guess some of them might have headed further north into Buffalo's. Oh, there we go, there's another adult cow. Some more calves. They're just very well spread out. I was thinking that just because that young cow moved past the adult cow and carried on walking forward, so interesting. Maybe while we've still got a little bit of daylight, talk to some ellies. Okay, we'll try and get in here. There's more up there on the left. Couple more youngsters here. just backing up towards Mom. Not too sure of us, but she hasn't even glanced in our direction. Another cow moving way down in the distance. Interesting feeding method. Picked up the grasses, bit the roots off, and then put it back in her mouth. I think I recognize Mom's got a tear in her left ear. I'm going to move back a little bit. We've got that youngster in front of us, give it a fright, no doubt, starting up. But she's going to come behind us, and I'd rather she came in front of us. Also, we're on the edge of a termite mound here, and I've got a feeling she might want to come and use the grasses, feed on the grasses on this termite mound. There you go, madam. You're welcome. All yours. Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I didn't think. Don't have to shout at me. The head throw that an elephant does, just like she did now. A little bit of an irritation, a little bit of a go away type of body language. But she's now happy to be with the grasses that she wanted to get to. Beautiful light. Tambo, mama, tambo. Oh, here comes another female with a very young baby. Didn't see her earlier. Sorry, me and my hat get in the way. This big car is actually taking ownership of the termite mound. She's stopping the other car from coming onto the termite mound to get to these grasses. Blocked it with her body. I'm going to go back to so we can see the other side. The conditions that a termite mound create, especially an active, this is still an active termite mound. The amount of warmth, the amount of nutrition and the amount of moisture that is associated with a termite mound is favorable to certain grasses. And you find things like elephant favor the grasses that grow around a termite mound. It's an important learning process for this little one. It's actually, if we could see that, couldn't quite see that because it's on the other side of mom. But it's watching both mom and its older sibling feeding. Even putting its trunk in their mouth, maybe smell what it is that they're feeding on. Get a taste of things. It is still suckling, but it is starting to feed on its own. Even though its trunk isn't that dexterous yet. Look at this little child. Easier to put your mouth down to the food and just bite it and eat it with your mouth and use a trunk when you're that age. That's only about a yearling. A very young calf, if a year. Well, with darkness falling, got a question about the skies. Oh, you're a little feisty there, bringing down that bush willow. Tim wants to know if we see the aurora australis, assuming that we don't see aurora borealis. No, we definitely don't see the aurora borealis. You have to be way far north to see that. But no, I think you've also got to be down in the Antarctic to see aurora australis. Anything. But you don't like me talking about stars. So you'll head at me like that. Off you go, little one. Follow your mother. Come. Come to me. Come to me. I'll keep trying. No, we're on open. Are you on up again?
No, I need to go in
We're working on getting that picture lightened a bit. It is getting dark. And it's going to be time to leave these children. Special little child. Tim, yes. No, never in all my years in South Africa, never seen. I don't believe we see it from this far north, as far south as we are. In Cape Town is what, I think 34 degrees south, and I think you've got to be a lot further south to see the southern lights, aurora australis. Now, any constellation in the northern hemisphere is known as borealis, and in the southern hemisphere is known as australis. If we look at something like the corona, the crown, you get corona borealis, the northern crown, corona australis. I think we're going to leave these alleys. We've got a few minutes, so we're going to take a drive along maybe Gallagher shortcut. Let's try and get to quarantine maybe before the end of drive. It's looking a lot lighter for you because we can lighten the picture up, but it's actually getting quite dark, and I'm going to leave these alleys in before it does get too dark. Not like the other night when they blocked my path and they stood in the road and didn't want me to go home. They didn't want me to leave, and I didn't want to leave them. Good night, ladies. Thank you. I'm going now. Bye-bye. Stay warm. Keep your children warm. Bye. With a nightjar in the road, I don't know if we'll be able to zoom in on it. Can try. See, I switched my lights off and it flew. Landing again, maybe. Nightjar related, same family of birds as what you have in the US, known as the whippoorwill. Hunting insects. Just went for a moth that it missed. I'm just going to we'll just try and get a look at it. Ah, it's gone again. Just trying to dig the spotlight out that's wedged behind the seat. Find another nightjar. How is it possible? How is it possibly possible? Something can get so wedged. Okay, got it. Let's see what we can find for you now. Caprimulgiformes. There's more elephant on our right. We're not going to go too fast. Use much of a spotlight. So most of the herd seems to have crossed. There's still more of them on our right over in Buffelshoek. Looks like they're leaving us. We've been very lucky with elephant the last few days. This last week. They must have heeded my call when I came back from leave. We've been swimming in elephants. Maybe we'll take Mgugu Road. There's an idea, just in case Yambilu Yordana's around. very wintry sky. Wintry feel to it. I think the only thing is it's still fairly green, otherwise it would feel like winter. Cold enough. Heading these, I think these elephants are all making their way here to Tambuti Dam. They might drink here later. now that we've changed times, it's still a little bit too light around this time of the evening to talk about stars. But as we move into May and going into June, it'll be a little bit darker and the skies will be a little bit clear. Well, they're clear tonight, but really good stargazing time of the year. Not much I can show you now, only 1 or 2 stars out. In fact, 1 or 2 planets. But in a week or 2 it'll be nice and dark this time of the evening, just before we close down. Tara is very good on her stars as well. We'll be able to give you a little bit of a, maybe a bit of a tour of what's up there in this part of the southern hemisphere. Even if we don't have a borealis, or rather a corona. Not a corona, what's it? Aurora. That's what I'm thinking of. Speaking of aurora, that's another snake I didn't think of earlier, the aurora house snake. I think with the brown house snake either. But one of the most beautiful snakes is the aurora house snake. I wonder what they were before they were houses. Were they called cave snakes? We have the brown house snake, it's a very common snake here in Africa. It must have been called a brown cave snake back in the day before there were houses. Oh well, time's running out on me, as it usually does this time of the day, when I want to find things. A new scar on that marula tree. So I'm afraid, let's just get up to quarantine. I'm afraid it's going to be time to say goodbye. I want to get closer to quarantine because maybe we'll hear something. Number of impala up ahead of us. But thanks for joining me. I hope the internet has managed to sort itself out. I'm not too sure if we're back on our real signal or back on a temporary one. But I'm glad to have gotten a couple of questions from you all today. So thank you for that very much. Sure, cold. Oh. My name is Mark. Daniel's been on camera and Tara in final control. We'll be with you at 6:30 Central African time tomorrow morning for our next safari. So do join us then. And from all of us here at Wild Earth Safari, good night and goodbye.
Well, thank you very much for joining us on the drive, and hopefully the internet connection will be much better tomorrow. Please try and join us for our next live safari. That's heading out at 6:30 Central Africa time. Mark will be heading out again, and hopefully we'll have the new tryout presenter in the afternoon. So stay tuned, and hopefully you can join us tomorrow. But for myself and the rest of the crew, take care wherever you are in the world, and we'll see you again soon here on Wild Earth.